What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the show. I wanted to talk about these new leaks that are coming out about the AMD stuff. As you know, I am a AMD, they call me a fanboy, but I just like the way AMD works. But okay, I mean, I guess if you like something, you're a fanboy. So, I mean, whatever. But I do heavily promote AMD on the channel just due to the fact that, like, I think that most gamers would absolutely be happy with the AMD GPU over an Nvidia one. It's pretty simple. You get more bang for your buck, and the drivers are fine. I've been using AMD for over 17 months now. I think it's absolutely incredible. But the funny thing is all of these leaks and rumors always come out, you know, toward the beginning of the new generation or toward the end of the generation, and people start to speculate, and you know, they get all these wild freaking ideas, and I kind of feel like a lot of them are targeted at kind of trying to knock AMD down a notch, just so that they can just so that they can try to, you know, I don't know, honestly, guys. I guess you could call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever. But here, let me just play it out for you. Let me just try to play it out for you. There's a lot of content creators out there doing the PC stuff. A lot of them, they receive both Nvidia and AMD stuff. Most of the stuff they say is borderline, like, you know, I guess you could kind of take it as like tech guys just being excited and being enthusiastic or whatever about the stuff. But they have this way of, you know, kind of like coming out toward AMD being like, yeah, dude, this is the price that it's got to be. I was just listening to a little bit of one of those content creators talking about the price that would make him happy about it, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, who the hell are you, bro? You don't even make GPUs. You don't pay you don't pay hundreds of thousands of people's salary. You don't design or build or do any of that stuff. You sit at home in front of a camera like I do, and you pontificate about how AMD is supposed to run their business so that you feel okay about it, all while getting free 4090 GPUs from Nvidia, which we know is the top of the line GPU that you can buy right now. So everything else underneath it is essentially not as good. So, so the guys that sit in front of a TV and in front of a camera like I do get to decide the pricing for AMD stuff. Now, okay, granted, this is the power level of what it's supposed to be. For the 97 or for the 9070 XT AMD RDNA 4 GPU, rumored is in between 7900 GRE and 7900 XT. One of those was retailed at $549 at launch. The other one was retail for $900 at launch. So if this card is in between there, you can essentially say, thank you. You can essentially say that the pricing, the fair pricing for this GPU could range anywhere from $549 up to $650, $700, because that's basically what 7900 XT is going for right now. It's right around $700. This is new architecture. It is supposedly going to run at at lower power budgets for all you power conscious fellas out there that didn't like the high power draw for the 7000 series. It is supposed to come with AMD's new ML AI upscaling for games and stuff, as well as have better ray tracing performance. So better ray tracing performance than 7000 series. New AI upscaling that is supposed to be, I mean, if PSSR is anything to go from, it looks like it could actually turn out to be something pretty decent. I've been testing PS5 Pro right now. I've got a lot of games on it. I've tested a lot of them, and overall, generally, I do find PSSR to be quite appealing sometimes. So if you look at that and you think realistically that prices for everything have gone up, everybody wants to be paid more money, you know, you kind of put yourself in a mindset that I would expect a $599 price. And I kind of feel like that is fair. If it is delivering 7900 GRE to 7900 XT power, now depending on the VRAM, if it's got 20 gigs of VRAM, absolutely worth 650 bucks. If it's got 16, then I would say it's more on the lower side of that spectrum in terms of 549, you know, in somewhere in between $500 to $549. That's kind of where I'm putting it. That's where what I'm thinking for the overall price. And I think that either way they go, that's fair. Now, do I think that AMD deserves to make money on their products? Absolutely. I have no problem paying the prices that I've paid for the hardware that I've received from AMD to date. I paid $933 for my 7900 XTX. I paid, what was it, like $869 for my 7900 XT when I had it. I paid $543 for my 7800 XT. And the most expensive one, the one that I didn't get the most bang for my buck, was for the 7600 XT, because I wanted that as close to launch as possible. So I paid for faster shipping and everything else. So the shipping costs don't really have anything to do with it, but that's definitely included in the overall price. Obviously, I paid more for the shipping to get that card faster so that I could create content with it. Now, when I look at things and I look at the way people denigrate and talk down about AMD for things that might have been in the past, those never affected me. I'm not going to sit and dwell on that stuff. I'm simply here talking about the experience that AMD delivers for me now. I don't have any problems. I find it to be a significantly less stutter, like it's not stutter free, but it is definitely more stable than any Nvidia GPU I have ever bought. I would say the best Nvidia GPU that I've ever bought would probably have been that 4080 Super. I really liked the 4070 Super. It was a Founders Edition card. It was very premium looking and awesome. If I was to keep that card and just use it and keep it within its boundaries, that would have been an awesome card. Awesome card. But there was definitely some stuttering and stuff like that with that card. So I was like, oh boy, I don't know. I don't really like the whole stuttering thing. You know, I mean, I get it that some people can stomach that and deal with that, but yeah, not me. I would say the 4080 Super was probably the most stable one that I've had, but I never really tried to push that card super hard. I basically just tried it and would run it and see how it worked. And for the most part, it was pretty dang good, but it did stutter every now and then in situations that I'm like, wait, why is this card stuttering? But then I just remember back to like, oh yeah, it's stuttered all of them. But I kind of feel like the 4080 Super was a little bit more stable, When I tried to use the Nvidia app, that just kind of broke things for me, so I wasn't able to really utilize that. I don't know. I think the AMD Adrenalin software brings something to the table for gamers that a lot of people just don't understand. Or I think that people have this idea in their head that AMD is just trash or it's like a budget GPU or something. And I would beg to differ. You know, I kind of disagree with that whole premise that AMD is just some budget cheap option for people that don't have any money. These are actually very performant cards. They usually come with enough VRAM that offers pretty decent longevity. I mean, seriously, like, look at the offering from AMD. If they really are coming out with something that's in between GRE and 7900 XT, my 7900 XTX is still 100% a viable option going forward. Obviously, I think that AMD understands and knows the market that they are trying to reach with these GPUs, and instead of focusing all that money and that R&D and all of that stuff into like this really high end that maybe 1 or 2% of PC gamers are actually going to buy, they go after that smaller market or that wider market. They cast a wider net to try to bring in as many people to the AMD experience as they can. I think honestly their methodology is pretty sound at this point right now, just due to the fact that how well these AMD GPUs have been running lately, and just how freaking far the reach goes. You got people with 6800s and like 6000 series cards that are still being able to get into games like Indiana Jones and run these at the highest settings, with all that ray tracing and everything that game comes with just for the AMD side. and have an experience that's like, wow, this is actually really good. And then you have people with 4070s that bought these 12 gigabyte cards trying to run the same game, and they're just not able to perform with all of those settings. They just can't do it unless you're willing to drop down a couple of rungs on the resolution scale, you know, use some really heavy freaking like performance level DLSS. Maybe you can claw some of that back. But at the end of the day, guys, I just don't think it's sound advice to be recommending that people buy an Nvidia GPU for an upscaler. Like that to me doesn't make any sense. I'd rather have the power to run games, because there are still games that will launch without DLSS day one. There are still games that will launch without FSR. So you need a GPU that's actually going to perform on the screen resolution that you want to have. And you know, guys, I've only been doing the PC thing for a couple of years. And in my experience, because I try to block all the stuff out and just try to get my very own experience, I don't see a reason to buy an Nvidia GPU unless you're going to buy the high-end cards, like a 5090 or a 4090 or something like that. But those cards are no longer marketed for gamers. Like, yes, they have all the bells and whistles and they'll do significantly better than everything else on the market. But at the end of the day, my friends, they are still, you're paying for the work side of them on top of the gaming side of them, because the gaming side of them, I think that like CUDA cores, I think VRAM is definitely more important than CUDA cores when it comes to video games, to be completely honest with you. But when you look at a 4090 or you look at a 5090 and you see that they're just packed, they have significantly more VRAM than you're gonna need. They have a lot more CUDA cores. It's like a full on freaking GPU, the full die. So yeah, you can usually throw that at most games, or you could throw most games at it and it's usually going to do pretty well. But when you look at the overall experience, especially with the AI thing, that's where they're banking their money on right now. That's where Nvidia's mindset is. That's where they're headed. They don't care about the gamers. Yeah, they'll still sell gamers 5090s. They don't care if you buy it. They don't care what you buy it for. But they know that those other people that are all into that AI, they're going to snap those cards up faster than you can imagine. They're going to snap those up, and that's going to be, the AI bros are going to be like, this is a good deal. And the gamers are going to be like, oh man, I really hate having to pay so much extra for that. Yeah, you're not the target market anymore, my friends. You are anything above 16 gigabytes on an Nvidia GPU is essentially targeted toward the AI guys. Everything under that, that's the stuff that's the leftovers for the gamers. I think that Nvidia would just as soon say, hey guys, our 70 class cards, lower, not the TI, but the 70 class card, that is our top of the line gaming GPU. That is what we think you should have. If you want anything else, you're gonna have to pay more money for it. And I think a lot of people just don't care. I get it, man. I'm a gamer and I love gaming. I love tech. I think tech is freaking the coolest thing in the world. You know, I turn wrenches for a living, but man, I love tech. And so when I'm utilizing this stuff and I'm playing with it and I'm having fun, man, I'm excited for tech, but at the same time, I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem worth it to buy these products, some of these products, and then just, have to feel like you're going to have to sell them or stay on this like little hamster wheel, like I've said before. But when it comes to AMD, guys, AMD going for that mid-range market, trying to keep their pricing, $5, $6, under $700 or whatever, while delivering an incredible experience, having driver level features that absolutely freaking matter in gaming and make gaming significantly better. I don't see where you could go wrong, man. Like, I really don't. Yeah, you can keep chasing the whole ray tracing thing, but it sounds like AMD's ray tracing is going to be at least on par with like 70 series-ish freaking NVIDIA GPUs, so, or maybe, better. Nobody really knows until we have them in our hands and we actually see how they run. But at the end of the day, guys, I think their train of thought is sound. I do. I think it's sound. I think what they're doing and what they're trying to do is actually pretty good. For me personally, I would absolutely love them to build a stronger card than the 7900 XTX. But necessarily right now, I don't absolutely need it. Like, I'm still able to play my games at maximum settings at really higher frame rates. I'm okay with what I have right now. My experience is sufficient. Like, I'm literally playing a PS5 Pro and enjoying it. So yeah, like whatever they're doing right now, whatever, I'm happy with that experience. Do I need ray tracing? No, it's a nice feature to have, but I still kind of feel like it's in beta form, and it just seems like every new game that comes out, you need more and more and more power to run it, and I'm not gonna buy a new GPU every time a new game comes out. That to me is just madness, especially when I can play them without the ray tracing on my 7900 XTX just fine and at high frame rates and beautiful visuals. So yeah, guys, I don't know, man. The argument kind of just went out the window with me on the 3080 10 gig. I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this freaking brand. I don't know about this. I mean, obviously, if I would have bought the 3080 10 gig the day it came out, it would have been a better experience. I wouldn't have been so like put out that I paid for it so close to. Do not buy Nvidia GPUs close to the end unless you're getting something with a good VRAM or a higher end card. I'm okay recommending AMD. 7900 XT, 7900 XTX, 7800 XT, definitely look into buying these cards. I do have I have a pretty good feeling that FSR4 is going to run on RDNA 3. I think it's going to run pretty good. I mean, PS5 Pro is RDNA 2 and it works. So yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure RDNA 3 is going to be able to run FSR 4. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.